I woke up to a miracle today. Triggers stay as I find my way. No judgment to lead astray. In this peaceful state of
Welcome, everyone. Today we're zeroing in on Lesson 73.
I am ready.
Awesome. Well, before we get into it, let's actually hear the words straight from Lesson 73. I will there be light. Today we are considering the will you share with God. This is not the same as the ego's idle wishes, out of which darkness and nothingness arise. The will you share with God has all the power of creation in it. The ego's idle wishes are unshared and therefore have no power at all. Its wishes are not idle in the sense that they can make a world of illusions in which your belief can be very strong. But they are idle indeed in terms of creation. They make nothing that is real. Idle wishes and grievances are partners or co-makers in picturing the world you see. The wishes of the ego gave rise to it, and the ego's need for grievances, which are necessary to maintain it, peopled it with figures which seem to attack you and call for righteous judgment. They become the middlemen the ego employs to traffic in grievances and stand between your awareness and your brother's reality. Beholding them, you do not know your brothers nor yourself. Your will is lost to you in this strange bartering, in which guilt is traded back and forth and grievances increase with each exchange. Can such a world have been created by the will the Son of God shares with his Father? Did God create disaster for his Son? Creation is the will of both together. Would God create a world that kills himself? Today we will try once more to reach the world which is in accordance with your will. The light is in it because it does not oppose the will of God. It is not heaven, but the light of heaven shines on it. Darkness has vanished. The ego's idle wishes have been withdrawn. Yet the light which shines upon this world reflects your will, and so it must be in you that we look for it. Your picture of the world can only mirror what is within. The source of neither light nor darkness can be found without. Grievances darken your mind, and you look out upon a darkened world. Forgiveness lifts the darkness, reasserts your will unless you look upon a world of light. We have repeatedly emphasized that the barrier of grievances is easily passed and cannot stand between you and salvation. The reason is very simple. Do you really want to be in hell? Do you really want to weep and suffer and die? Forget the ego's arguments which seek to prove all this is really heaven. You know it is not so. You cannot want this for yourself. There is a point beyond which illusions cannot go. Suffering is not happiness, and it is happiness you really want. Such is your will in truth. And so salvation is your will as well. You want to succeed in what we are trying to do today. We undertake it with your blessing and with your glad accord. We will succeed today if you remember that you will salvation for yourself. You will to accept God's plan because you share in it. You have no will that can really oppose it, and you do not want to do so. Salvation is for you, and above all else, you want the freedom to remember who you really are. Today it is the ego which stands powerless before your will. Your will is free, and nothing can prevail against it. Therefore, we undertake the exercises for today in happy confidence, certain that we will find what it is your will to find, and remember what it is your will to remember. No idle wishes can detain us, nor deceive us with an illusion of strength. What are your first thoughts on that?
It's such a huge statement, right? It's like saying true creation, that creation of like real peace, lasting joy that comes from aligning ourselves with like something way bigger than just our individual egos. This shared will, this being in sync with a higher purpose, that's where the real juice is. That's where the power comes from.
Yeah. And it contrasts that, like, so clearly with the ego's, quote, idle wishes,
right?
Which it says lead to darkness and illusions. What do you think about that distinction?
I think it's getting at how the ego, with its focus on like me, and what I want, that doesn't have the power to create anything actually real. Or lasting. It's almost like building a house on like shifting sand. You might see something there for a bit, but it's not going to last. It's going to crumble.
Yeah.
Because it's not grounded in something solid.
So the stuff the ego makes, it's all kind of like illusions, temporary,
right?
Fleeting, not ultimately fulfilling because it's not aligned with this greater will.
And then the lesson goes on to say like those idle wishes, when you combine that with our grievances, that's what makes the world seem so hostile.
It talks about how grievances are these like middlemen that mess with our perception. They keep us from really seeing ourselves and others clearly.
Yeah, when we hold on to grievances, it's like we're buying into the ego story, that whole narrative of separation and attack.
Yeah.
It feeds that belief that we're victims in this world that's out to get us.
So how do we get out of that? How do we break free from this cycle of grievances and illusions?
Forgiveness.
Right.
It's about recognizing that those grievances aren't actually real.
Right.
And letting go of their grip on how we see things.
Letting go of that judgment, that warped lens, and choosing to see things through a lens of love and understanding.
And that shift in perspective, that act of forgiving, that's what lets us reconnect with our true will, the will that's in alignment with love and creation.
Yeah, and the lesson makes a point of saying that this true will, this shared will, is actually what we truly want deep down. It asks, do you really want to be in hell? Do you really want to weep and suffer and die?
At our core, we're not about suffering. We're about happiness and peace.
Right.
Like deep down, we all want connection, love, a world that reflects this shared will.
So to experience that world of light, we got to shift gears
Yeah.
from the ego's limited view to that expansive vision of shared will.
And to dig deeper into that shift, we can look at this concept of like the unshared ego versus the oneness of the Holy Spirit. So this whole idea, right, of the ego's wishes being unshared, that's really key to understanding why they lead us to illusions and, ultimately suffering. The ego, it thrives on this idea of separation. It's always trying to convince us that we're like separate individuals, all isolated, alone, each with our own little private world.
So the ego's world, it's kind of like a bunch of separate bubbles,
Yeah, exactly.
each with its own, limited perspective and desires.
Perfect analogy. And because those desires are coming from a place of fear, lack, they don't have the power to create anything that truly lasts or like fulfills us.
But the Holy Spirit, it's different, right?
Yeah.
It operates from this place of unity, connection.
Precisely. The Holy Spirit highlights that shared reality that's underneath all of creation. It reminds us that we're all woven together, part of this grand tapestry, interconnected, interdependent. When we align with the Holy Spirit, we tap into this like infinite source of creativity and love. And this difference, right, between the unshared ego and the oneness of the Holy Spirit, it becomes even clearer when we look at how each one approaches grievances.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, remember how that lesson described grievances as these middlemen that kind of distort our perception? The ego, it holds on to those grievances. It uses them to like reinforce its story of separation and woe is me.
It's like the ego needs those grievances, to justify its existence, to keep up this illusion that we're under attack all the time.
Exactly. But the Holy Spirit, it invites us to see those grievances through a different lens. It encourages us to see them as chances for healing and growth.
So instead of holding on tight, we can use them as stepping stones
Yes.
to move towards greater understanding and compassion.
Yeah.
We have a choice, right? We can turn on a light in the dark room, or we can stumble around in the shadows, clinging to our fear and resentment.
What a beautiful way to put it. Choosing the light, choosing forgiveness. It's an act of courage. And as we, kind of cultivate this awareness, this willingness to choose light, we start to change how we see the world.
Yeah.
And our experience within it.
We see miracles where we used to see roadblocks. We feel joy where we used to feel pain.
And we find ourselves surrounded by love where we once felt isolated.
This is so inspiring. I feel like our conversation, it's really shining a light on the path to experiencing that transformative light in our own lives. And it gives us like these practical steps for how to do that, like reminding ourselves that we're actually in perfect alignment, with this divine plan. It's not some outside force being pushed on us.
Yeah.
Today, let your will be done and end forever the insane belief that it is hell in place of heaven that you choose. We will begin our longer practice periods with the recognition that God's plan for salvation, and only His, is wholly in accord with your will. It is not the purpose of an alien power thrust upon you unwillingly. It is the one purpose here on which you and your Father are in perfect accord. You will succeed today, the time appointed for the release of the Son of God from hell and from all idle wishes. His will is now restored to his awareness. He is willing this very day to look upon the light in him and be saved. After reminding yourself of this and determining to keep your will clearly in mind, tell yourself with gentle firmness and quiet certainty, I will there be light. Let me behold the light that reflects God's will and mine. Then let your will assert itself, joined to the power of God and united with yourself. Put the rest of the practice period under their guidance. Join with them as they lead the way. In the shorter practice periods, again make a declaration of what you really want. Say, I will there be light. Darkness is not my will. This should be repeated several times an hour. It is most important, however, to apply today's idea in this form. Immediately you are tempted to hold a grievance of any kind. This will help you let your grievances go, instead of cherishing them and hiding them in the darkness. Any final thoughts for our listener to really encourage them to embrace this path of light, of shared will.
I would just remind them that this journey is about remembering who they truly are, beings of light, connected to this infinite source of love and creation. As you go about your day, notice those moments when you're caught up in the ego's story of separation, and gently guide yourself back to the truth of oneness. You are not alone. You are held, guided by a love that never wavers. Trust in that love and let it light your way.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for joining me in this illuminating deep dive.
It was my pleasure.